we promised you we'd be doing a rumors roundup, so we are going to get to that segment. And so we're going to go ahead and bring up just a reminder of what all the Harbaugh heads mean in this rumor meter. So 0 Harbaughs means totally false news, fake news, not going on. 1 Harbaugh head means, hey, there's a small shred of truth. This may be actually real. 2 Harbaugh heads, people are talking, James.
It's out there. People out here
it's
saying.
A possibility. 3 Harbaugh heads means pretty likely. This is most likely a fact, and that means 4 Harbaugh heads is a F-A-C-K fact. And James, I've been noticing in the comment section lately, a lot of people are like, fact. What is F-A-C-K fact? Do you mean fact?
Yeah.
And this is why we go F-A-C-K fact. Take it away.
That's just fact of business.
In the front here, Mark. Can you update?
Fact. F-A-C-K, fact.
Can you update us on Greg Frey's? Did he travel here and why not?
What did I say? F-A-C-T? Yeah. Correction. I stand corrected. F-A-C-T. Where'd you go?
Wait, what did I spell it? Fact, F-A-C-K? Oh, F-A-C-T. I stand corrected. He took so much heat on social media for that. People, articles out there, Jim Harbaugh can't spell. And it was really interesting. We didn't show the beginning of that, but there was a 10-second pause prior to that. And it's out of nowhere, the old, hey, he's thinking about it for a while, decides to spell it for no reason at all. But sometimes I think these things are calculated, but funny nevertheless, Lena. And that's why we say fact. If Jim Harbaugh spells it F-A-C-K, that's how we spell it here on the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. First rumor we have for you guys, and we mentioned it before, Harbaugh discusses NFL rumors. We're giving this 4 Harbaugh heads, and we brought up one clip of Harbaugh being a clown in a press conference, so let's go ahead and bring up another.
Yeah, Lena, so we're going to show this clip here. He was asked yesterday by the Free Press whether or not there's any truth to the rumors that he's a candidate for the Indianapolis Colts job, whether he's a candidate for the Chicago Bears job, or any job at all. And with that, he addressed it kind of head on, which I'm glad to see, because a lot of times he won't even just say, I don't want to answer that question.
Right. I'll just move on to the next question. I think it's like warmed up oatmeal, Nick. It's. Or maybe compare it to something else that's like when it's rehashed or warmed back up, it's not good anymore. Oatmeal is the first thing that comes to mind. Not a big fan of warmed up oatmeal.
Who is? Any more questions?
You too?
Yeah, I don't like that either. No, it's
tastes
be hot.
It sounds good.
A warm bowl of oatmeal, James.
Yeah, nobody likes to put oatmeal in the fridge overnight, wake up the next morning and heat it up. It's just brutal. And Jim Harbaugh, addressed that. That's what he thinks of those rumors. And so, Elena, that coupled with the rumors started by Brady Quinn, the former Notre Dame quarterback, now at Fox Sports, that Jim Harbaugh was looking to sign a lifetime contract with Michigan. They were looking to commit to him long term. Say, hey, if we fire you, we might owe you as much as $25 million. And on the flip side, Jim, if you leave the NFL, you're going to owe us $25 million, almost making it impossible for either side to kind of leave without end the relationship without the other one's blessing. And with that, and him addressing it again here, I think it's pretty safe to say that Michigan fans, no matter what happens in this bowl game, no matter what happens, the rest of this offseason, whether it's the Bears job, the Colts job, etc., Jim Harbaugh is going to be the Michigan coach in 2018. And I really think it's going to be 2018 and beyond. The only way he goes back to the NFL, in my opinion, is if he has this level of success that Urban Meyer has had at Florida State or Ohio State, back-to-back championships or playoff appearances, league championships, and a national title, a Heisman Trophy winner or two. And then, do they have an heir apparent, in line? And is Jim Harbaugh then young enough? Is he not, in his 60s? Is he still, he's 53 now, I think he may just turned 54. Is he still in his mid to late 50s by that time where he can go on and have an NFL career and not leave Michigan hanging?
All right, Harbaugh saying in 2018. Someone who might not be saying in 2018 is Chase Winovich, the end.
Okay, so the reason people are talking here, we give it 2 Harbaugh heads, Lena, because Harbaugh said that he said that Chase Winovich has made up his mind, but he's not going to tell us there. He's not going to tell us esteemed members of the Michigan media, the Michigan Football Insider. He's not going to tell us what the news is there. He's going to let Chase Winovich, and when asked about it recently, Winovich says he's not ready to tell us. So this is just the people are talking, but from what I have heard, Chase Winovich wants to go. He thinks he has done all he can in a Michigan uniform. He thinks that it is time for him to go to the NFL. But a lot of family members of his, which he takes very, he really takes what they say seriously. Most of his family is saying, hey, look what coming back for another year did to Mo Hurst. Look what coming back to Michigan for another year did for a lot of guys in the past, like Braylon Edwards and Marlon Jackson, guys who went from kind of second or third round picks to first-round draft picks like Mo Hurst did this year. And with that, I don't know what the result of this is going to be, though. But if I had to flip a coin and kind of put it one direction, I just say what I think now, I'd say he's going to go to the NFL.
All right, next rumor roundup we have for you. There's a running back on this roster who didn't make the trip out to Tampa. What do you have to say about that, James?
Well, it's Kareem Walker and Lena. I've been kind of on this guy's case for a couple years now. He committed to Michigan after being a long-time Ohio State commitment, was a 5-star guy. But by the time the end of his senior season went down, most of the scouting services had knocked him not only out of the 5-star contention, but out of the top 100. And that's because he's kind of just a knucklehead. And I hate to say that about a 19 or 20-year-old college kid, but his buddy, Amir Mitchell, came in with him from New Jersey, both highly rated kid. Amir Mitchell's a 4-star guy. Didn't even make it through spring camp or fall camp before Jim Harbaugh kicked him off the team. Walker didn't play last year, didn't get a lot of snaps this year. There's some academic issues, some other issues with his behavior and things he does. And initially we heard he didn't make it. Was there an injury out there? No, it's a disciplinary reason. I don't know what the exact reason is, but he's not going to play. I can't confirm exactly what the reason is. That's why we're not giving it 4 Harbaughs. It's not FACK. But with that, Lena, he is not going to be playing the game. I do think this leaves a little bit of questions about where we're going to have this guy in the future of Michigan football.
All right, definitely some disappointing news coming out of Ann Arbor. Up next, Lane Kiffin makes an appearance at Michigan football practice. This is 4 Harbaugh heads.
Well, and he did. I mean, there's no question about it. We've got video and photographic proof. But the reason we bring this up is because I love when I read Twitter and some of these message boards and maybe even Reddit and sometimes is how delusional people are. Mostly Michigan fans, my Michigan fan brethren. I appreciate you watching, but what do they think this is about? People were speculating, oh, he's there because he's going to be the next offensive coordinator in Michigan. You've got to be out of your mind. He's not going to go from a head coaching job to an offensive coordinator in Michigan. Let's talk about facts here. Jim Harbaugh played in the NFL for a long time. He knows Lane's dad very well. He knows Lane very well for more than a decade. They coached in California at the same time for a long time. And oh, by the way, Jim got his NFL coaching start with the Raiders. Lane got his head coaching start with the Raiders. And as that, they've known each other for over 15 years. So it's just 2 guys coming out, come by our practice, show us a little love, maybe show a few pointers. Lane, you've got a good offense going. So this is nothing more than a guy going to the same coach and coming by a practice. And by the way, he also checked out South Carolina's practice as well. So maybe he's going to be their offensive coordinator. I don't know.
All right, next rumor we have for you guys. It's the new strength and conditioning coach of 4 Harbaugh heads. This guy coming out of Arkansas. What can you tell me about him, James?
Well, so this is almost as much of a confirmed 99% that I can give right now, Lena. And he's not just going to come with himself. He's going to bring 3 members of the Arkansas strength and conditioning staff, all guys who were at Wisconsin many of them for more than a decade, which this guy was. So let's talk a little bit about him. So his name is Ben Herbert. He's been a strength and conditioning coach at a major college football program for 15 years now, Lena. 11 of those with Wisconsin, and the last 4 with Brett Bielema at the University of Arkansas. Now he's looking for a job, and so we've got this video we're going to show right now here, and he is just a man's man. I want to show this video because he just gets after it. He focuses on core strength. He focuses on high-intensity training, and that's what this Michigan football team needs. If you're going to compare what the players on Arkansas, and they didn't have that great of a record, I know, but going back to Wisconsin as well, what kind of players they develop, it is massive human beings, and it's strong guys. What Wisconsin and Arkansas never did is they never lost the kind of battle at the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. Where they really, faltered at Arkansas in the last few years is in the skill positions, and they didn't develop those very well. And so where Michigan, when they fired their strength coach, what Jim Harbaugh told him is, hey, at the beginning of the season, I said, we need to be the strongest team in the Big Ten, and we need to get stronger. We're not there yet. Got to find somebody else. And it sounds like this is going to be announced in the next 2 or 3 days, 4 days. I would not be surprised if we kind of heard this as a confirmed, goes from 99% FACK to a complete 100% no later than Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week.
All right, next rumor. Shea Patterson attended the Alamo Bowl in person. So now we have a picture of him there, James. Is this kind of a little fishy to you? A little suspect of this going on, or what do you think? I
found it to be weird, and our producer, I'm not going to mention his name because his shaking of his head is not worthy of name recognition. But producers give me a little fake news behind the set here, and I don't know if it's anything, Lena, but I will say this. He is a Michigan student athlete now. He's going to be enrolling in school in about 2 weeks or so. He is a member of the Michigan football team, although he can't practice with them yet. And he went to the Stanford TCU game. And normally I would say, oh, no big deal. But what I would say is kind of interesting is he sat in a luxury box yesterday. And I don't think there's anything to that. Maybe, as some have speculated, maybe it's his sister. She lives in San Antonio. Could it be her husband, who, she's got kids and everything. She's a little bit older than him. Could it be his work thing? Could it be something for his dad's work? Nevertheless, whenever you see somebody at a sporting event sitting courtside, sitting in a luxury suite, driving a $50,000 car maybe or something like that, there always is questions. I hope there is a trail. I hope this wasn't a guy his dad met in the last year or something like that. If it's anything to do with Shea Patterson being a student athlete, Michigan could be in some trouble with him. Now, I'm guessing it's not. They weren't hiding it. They were posting on social media and such yesterday. As such, he was at the game yesterday with at least his sister and multiple of her kids, as we saw from multiple social media posts. This is his nephew, I believe, in the picture that we're showing here. Shea Patterson at that game in San Antonio yesterday, which means he's no longer in Northwest Ohio and Toledo around his aunts, uncles, grandparents. He's down in San Antonio where I believe his sister lives, and he was at the game from a luxury suite. I'm going to have to find out whose suite that was.
All right, we'll keep you guys posted on that one. Here's just a reminder of what the rumor meter is and what all these Harbaugh heads mean. 0, totally false. 1, small shredded 2. 2, people are talking. 3, pretty likely. And 4 is FACK, fact. Next rumor we have for you guys, Greg Frey is heading over to FSU, and we're giving this 3 Harbaugh heads.
And by the way, I'm going to take a little pat myself on the back for breaking this story last week, even though the scribes and the pundits out there will say, oh, I'm not seeing this from Sam Webb or something like that. This is happening, Lena. Jim Harbaugh has Willie Taggart's, or Willie Taggart has Jim Harbaugh's kind of blessing.
Yes,
Frey went to Florida State. He was a member of that 1993 Florida State National Championship team. Jim Harbaugh has known Frey for a long time, even recommended him to Taggart last year to be the offensive line coach for Oregon before Taggart found somebody else to take that job. So looks like he's going down there. And what that means, Lena, is that Michigan's going to be replacing 3 coaches. Brian Smith, their safety coach, has already moved on. He's going to be the defensive coordinator at Rice. Now you've got Greg Frey out. I think this is a good thing for one reason. I do think there were too many cooks in the kitchen on the offensive side of the ball. Drevno is an offensive line coach, but then Frey is a tight ends and offensive line coach. We've got a running game coordinator in Pep Hamilton, who's also the wide receivers coach. Then we got Jay Harbaugh, who's the running backs coach, but not the running game coordinator. It never made a lot of sense to me. Pep Hamilton, the passing game coordinator. Never made a lot of sense to me why there was such structure. But then we hear, oh, Jim Harbaugh's calling the plays now the last 1 or 2 games of the season. So I think they need to declutter that and make it a defined kind of hierarchy of who's reporting to who on the offensive side of the ball. I think Frey going down to Florida State and bringing in somebody else, I think really kind of declutters that whole hierarchical coaching structure they've got going on in the Michigan offensive side of the ball.
All right, you talked about replacing coaches. Is this coach heading to Michigan? We're giving it 3 Harbaugh heads. James, what can you tell me?
This was reported by a Detroit newspaper a few weeks ago that they had taken a meeting, and I think it is pretty likely at this point that Dan Enos, former Central Michigan coach, current, I guess outgoing Arkansas offensive coordinator under Brett Bielema, knows that strength and conditioning coach. It seems like that Michigan just kind of raiding the outgoing Arkansas coaching staff. I wish they would have a little bit more success there in the SEC. But nevertheless, Enos is a Michigan State grad, spent a number of years at Michigan State under Mark D'Antonio, and with that, he is a great recruiter in the state of Michigan, Lane. And I think that's the most important thing here, is that he is coming in as a really strong recruiter in Michigan. Now, people are going to say, whoa, offensive coordinator at Arkansas coming in, Drevno, Hamilton under fire. What does that mean for the Michigan football program? Is he coming to be the new offensive coordinator? I have been told he is coming in as a recruiting guy, a part-time recruiting coordinator, and the new special teams coordinator, which Michigan currently does not have. It's a combination of Jay Harbaugh and one of the other assistants who kind of split it, and we've seen that kind of the detriment of the Michigan football program recently with multiple blunders on the special team side of things.
All right, guys, this is the Michigan Football Report. I am Lena Bond, and this is the Michigan Football Insider, James Yoder. We are going through our rumors roundup, so we're going to keep it on rolling here. Just a reminder of what all these Harbaugh heads mean. Up next on our rumors roundup, it has to do with the quarterback situation. We keep talking about it. Peters comes out and says he doesn't care about Patterson. Now, what does he not care about? And we are giving this 4 Harbaugh heads.
Yeah, he came out and spoke to the media this week, and they asked him, hey, what does it mean for Shea Patterson to be coming in? And this is an established quarterback, one of the most hyped recruits in modern history of the recruiting game. People were talking about Shea Patterson as a freshman in high school, and Peter's not nearly as hype, certainly a top 150 guy, but Shea Patterson is like an all-world recruit. What does that mean to you? And he says, he didn't say he doesn't care about Patterson, the guy, as much as he said he doesn't care about Patterson coming in to take his position. He's going to have to, compete for a job. He had to do it in high school. He won the job. He had to come in. Now he's the starting quarterback at Michigan and win the job. When he came into the role, Michigan had 5 quarterbacks on the roster when he came in 2 years ago as a true freshman. Now he's kind of the old man on the totem pole with Wilton Spate and John O'Corn exiting the Michigan football program. And with that, he doesn't care. He has to compete. He knows he has to do it in Michigan with Shea Patterson and Dylan McCaffrey. If he makes it to the NFL, he's going to have to do it there every single year of his career. And so that's kind of how it is. For Harbaugh, he doesn't care that Patterson is coming. It's not going to affect his career as a Michigan quarterback.
All right, Sean chiming in, and James, he wants to know, will Shea be available next season?
Good question. So what we've been told recently is that Shea Patterson is not interested in suing the NCAA personally. So he has turned it over to the University of Michigan for their compliance department and their football program and the resources they have at their disposal to take it upon themselves. So here's kind of how it breaks down, Lena. Michigan, as early as maybe this, potentially even today, I've been told, they're going to submit a report to the NCAA that says, hey, this is why this player should be eligible to play for us next season, why you should give him a waiver on the recorded 1 year bench period. You can't play if you transfer schools. And the reasons is that Shea Patterson was misled in his recruitment.
Right.
Had he been told things that were truthful, he would have never gone to that school, hence he would not have to sit out the 2018 season. And with that, the NCAA, they don't do anything with it. They basically send it to the school that is the kind of the guilty party in all this, which is Ole Miss, and they say to him, do you agree with this and you're going to let the player, you have a waiver, have no opinion on it, or you want to dispute it? And if they take the first one, it's pretty much guaranteed that Ole Miss will say, we don't have a problem with this, he's right, and that he will be granted that waiver. Now, if they say, we're not going to address it, or we dispute it, then Michigan has to go through a longer process. We might not know if he's going to be able to play in spring football, for next year in spring football. Might not know until the summer, which would be a bummer because you really want to go into that March and April spring football period knowing if Shea Patterson is going to be eligible to be your quarterback, because it's going to affect how many reps you give him in spring.
Of course. All right, let's keep rolling through these rumors. Up next, we have the #1 2020 prospect is coming to visit Ann Arbor in January. And James, 4 Harbaugh heads.
Yeah, I like this guy's name too. It's Brian Breesy, and so he is a sophomore, Lena. So he's still got 2 years of high school football ahead of him. But he kind of reminds me of really like not the Rashawn Gary is that style of player, but he reminds me of a Jadeveon Clowney even.
Okay.
Very skinny kind of guy, 6'4", 260, really fast off the edge, out of the state of Maryland, where Michigan is not recruited as well as I think they should have, given that they've got a huge alumni base in the D.C. area. You think that kind of spread out, get some love going out there. This guy, according to 24/7 Sports right now, they've got 83% of their pundits say that he is going to Ohio State. The other 17 saying he is going to Maryland. But it's a good sign here and get him on campus in January of his sophomore year in high school. As a 2020 prospect. But this guy is pretty much the unanimous #1 player in that class. So Michigan's got 2 full years to recruit him, kind of catch up on what they've lost to Ohio State, which, as most pundits are saying, he's going to go to Ohio State. It's 80% guaranteed. But as we've seen in the past, when Rashawn Gary was a sophomore in high school, Atlanta, it was about 80% he was going to Florida, right? And so ended up going to Michigan. So we'll see where this one shakes out. But it's good to get him on campus, show him what Michigan's all about. Good to see that, hey, Shea Patterson will be in there, a little swagger. That's the guy everybody's talking about in college football right now. Good to get him on campus right in the beginning of this next upcoming semester. All
right, second to last rumor we have for you guys. The top remaining 2018 recruit is going to attend the bowl practice for Harbaugh heads.
Yeah, so this is Nicolas Petit-Fleury. So
fantastic.
He is a 5-star offensive lineman. Michigan, at a Berkeley Prep in near the Tampa area. Michigan is practicing at his high school. Michigan did this 2 years ago with Eddie McDoom. They went down to the bowl game. They practiced at the high school of Eddie McDoom. Less than 30 days later, he committed to play at Michigan. And so Michigan's trying the same approach here with Nicolas Petit-Fleury. 5-star offensive lineman. They need him bad. They need him really bad. Now, he attended Michigan's practice yesterday, and that's awesome. You got to see what Michigan's all about. Saw the star power there with Lane Kiffin and some other Michigan alums that live in the Florida area came up for practice. I think it's a good thing. Michigan can't talk to him. Michigan can't watch him practice, can't watch him work out, can't talk to his parents. But what can happen is Michigan's fans, people in attendance can shout out his name, tell him they want him to come to Michigan. All good things. Genius move by Jim Harbaugh to get on his campus. He can come to their practice very easily.
All right, final rumor we have for you guys is that Michigan might be as high as number 3 in some people's polls. Joel Klatt did his little poll ranking session way too early, but he did it, and he has Michigan at number 3. So let's take a look.
In 2018, we should know.
In 2018,
Yeah,
not now. In 2018, moving on to next season. So let's take a look at what he had to say.
Now let's get into the top 3. Michigan. For all you people that said Jim Harbaugh can't do anything, I think next year is a big year for him. Obviously, he needs to start winning some of those big games, namely here, and I understand that. But that was an incredible performance from a team that lost maybe more than anybody else to the NFL. They had one starter back on defense, still played incredible defense. I think depending on what happens, obviously, with their quarterback transfer and then Brandon Peters, I actually think Brandon Peters is a really good player. If he doesn't go down against Wisconsin, that's a different game. If he plays against Ohio State, that's a different game. If he plays from the beginning of the season, I think the Michigan State game is a different game. They are some solid quarterback play away from being 11-1 this year. True story, right? I mean, that's a good physical football team. You should hear the coaches who have to play them talk about what they do, whether it's schematically and or with their personnel. So I like Michigan. Their D is going to be terrific, and I think Peters to Peoples-Jones is going to be a great combination.
All right, Michigan coming in at number 3 in that poll. Not the only big team coming in, though. We also have Michigan State and Ohio State making an appearance on that list. Do you like what he had to say, James?
Well, I think there's some valid points to it. Now, Michigan, what he said there, Lena, is Michigan had any quarterback play that was even average quarterback play in the Big Ten. They could have been 11-1. They should have won. Ohio State came down to a wide open pass. Should have won Wisconsin, winning that game when Brandon Peters went out. And of course, remember the Michigan State game: 5 interceptions, 5 turnovers that day by John O'Corn. Michigan, any quarterback play. He's basing on the fact that Michigan will be returning 9 of 11 starters from defense as long as Chase Winovich comes back. Mo Hurst will be gone, Mike McCray will be gone, and then almost the entire offense. Plus, you're going to add likely Shea Patterson or the guy who beats him out, Brandon Peters, or maybe Dylan McCaffrey. And with that, Lena, Michigan could be a top 3 team this year, next year in 2018. Now, I don't think they're going to start that high in most of the polls, just because the way this season kind of left off, losing their last 2 regular season games. But it's good to see Joe Klatt, somebody everybody respects in the college football game, giving Michigan that number 3 ranking.